Brown. How you doing, Phil?
You mean Moreno, Agent Moreno?
Moreno. Yeah. I used to say Morano. You said no, Moreno. And and there ain't no way, folks. He approaches the universe of Morano. This guy, he's very, very sharp, very inspirational, has endless energy. He's in better shape than most 20-year-olds. And he's what I call first night. He's one of the dream team of Benny Profit and First Priority Global. Let me tell you something. It just doesn't get sharper than that. It really doesn't. Benny Profit is an incredible man. Interesting that his last name is Profit, Phil,
Yes.
because of who he is and what he does. But you've been with him, and the team has been with him for many years. It just says a lot about the man, and it says a lot about the mission, but it also says a lot about the team. I've been around a lot of millionaires. I've been around a lot of leaders, business leaders, international leaders. Let me tell you something, folks. You don't see a leadership team this sharp in one setting and one team. You just don't usually see that. And don't get me wrong. I love people. I love ministries, Phil, but I think Phil would have to agree. This all-star team of men who have been successful on their own are successful together with the incredible ministry and the mission of First Priority Global. Now, you just had your staff meeting, and Phil, tell us what's happening now, man.
Oh man, it is so exciting. Literally right now we have Benny is in with a group of guys fixing to do a training in London. And we've got a couple guys doing training in Amman, Jordan.
Wow.
And then a couple other guys that are literally flying tomorrow to Cairo, Egypt, for a training and a big celebration of what God's done in the last year there, all over the country.
Wow.
Just amazing things. All of these church leaders coming together to celebrate implementing this Great Commission strategy in a country like Egypt, where they don't have total freedom, but they have enough freedom where they're excited. They're excited.
Well, President Sisi, they call him the Trump of Egypt, no matter how you vote, folks. And it is what it is. Fruit is fruit of a certain type of leadership. There's leadership from behind, and then there's leadership that President Sisi, who we were associated with, and his team, the president over there, he built over 400 churches as over a couple of years ago, which no Muslim president will ever do. And Phil, do you mind if I comment on Egypt real quick?
Yeah, man, go for it. I wish you could be there this week.
Well, you know what? You never know, brother. You never know. President Sisi called together my friend, the only missionary that did not leave during the staged Muslim Brotherhood Arab Spring. It was all staged with the current president we had and Zuckerberg. Facts are facts. I was a counterterrorism reporter when all that was going on, going throughout America, but and reporting on that organization that was very embedded in high places and still is. But President Sisi gathered together Dr. Ron Charles and other Christian leaders that were brave enough to come over right after he overthrew Morsi, the Manchurian candidate that was put in, that was crucifying Christian children in Egypt.
Oh, wow.
In front of his palace, Phil. So the very place that was happening as recently as 2012, here's First Priority boots on the ground for a while. But Sisi said, I am Muslim and I will always be Muslim. But we have noticed that every country that is healthy and prosperous and has law-abiding citizens the way they do always has a Christian element or a foundation. He said that. And we want to know why. And so from that, we got to minister to the persecuted church under presidential guard. It never happened ever. And of course, you and I met not long after that with First Priority. So to hear the First Priority Global already has a presence there, has already been working there, but now under a president that is actually pro-Christianity, Imagine what can happen in Cairo, folks, when you support First Priority Global. When you go to firstpriority.global and you click the donate button. You didn't ask me to do this, Phil, but it takes money to do things. And you know, folks, you can spend your money with people that hate you, hate America, hate Christians, hate gender, hate the family, people who take millions of dollars from our enemies to destroy the family from the inside out. Or you can put your money where your heart is, and where a lot of you pastors' mouths are, respectfully, and support
Reaching the
the
nations.
the ultimate outreach. You know, hot dog dinners are great, and there's people who will go from church to church in your town and enjoy every one of those. That's great. That's great. But you know what? You want to make an internal investment in the lives of young people around the world. You'll go to firstpriority.global and you'll support this work. Phil, how many years again? I'll probably always ask you this for people because we're gaining new audiences all the time. Phil, we haven't seen nothing yet. How many years have you been serving in this incredible organization?
Well, since 1992, that's when Benny and I first met, and we began to implement this strategy in Jackson, Mississippi, and just saw phenomenal results. So much so that what I've always said ever since then is, I'm going to do the Great Commission, and you show me a strategy that works better than First Priority to reach the next generation. I'll do it. Somebody please show me one, and I will do it. No one's been able to show me one that's more effective than First Priority since 1992.
Right.
And that's the reason why I'm continuing to do it and training other guys to do it. It's phenomenal. It's not anything new because it's just it's a fresh coat of paint on the Great Commission.
Right.
That's all
right.
it is. So,
well, Phil,
exciting.
First Priority isn't trying to win people to a denomination or to a church. They're trying to win people to Jesus. And you're helping people.
The body of Christ. Yes.
How about that? In Bible college, we always say, bring them in, build them up, send them out. Well, that's a good dream. But what happens often more than not is the church model. We want to bring them in and keep them, and build them up as long as they don't go anywhere, and then maybe send them out. Maybe the missionary in residence, or you have churches that, man, they're out there and they're building. That's great. First Priority goes so much above and beyond not only sharing Jesus with these people, but helping them become sufficient as leaders and as people, down to helping people eat who are starving. And around the world, those in Islam, they know that if you put a mosque in an impoverished area and you feed the people, you have them, you have their hearts. But you know what, though? First Priority, I really believe, Phil, that fulfills Matthew 26. I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. I was sick and in prison, you came and visited me. I was a stranger, you invited me in. When you've done it to the least of these, you've done it unto me. And I think the reason why you're so explosive is you're raising leaders, not just audiences, but leaders.
Well, not just raising leaders in the normal sense that you think of raising leaders. We literally are just giving away a strategy to what we would call the nationals in every country around the world that we're invited to. We're giving away the materials, the resources, the strategies, and then continuing in relationship with them to coach them, and then watch them go do it and see the phenomenal results. It doesn't get any better than that. I don't have to go and stay in a country for months and years. I get
and maybe have one convert after 6 years.
Boom.
Yeah.
Do what?
And maybe have one convert after 6 years.
Right. It's just the opposite, because now it's equipping the local churches in every country for them to go and implement this ministry to raise up leaders in this next generation and use them as the key tool to reach that generation with the gospel. And then, so you're not just making disciples, then you're actually making disciple makers.
Wow. I love, and you know what? Is that not what Jesus did?
Exactly.
It's not what Jesus, I remember praying for a ministry. I said, Lord, we send people overseas and they study a language and they're still outsiders. They'll never be nationals in the way that normal nationals are accepted. Lord, we have them come to us from all over the world to our universities. And if you convert someone from an area, you have 10 times or maybe 100 times more the effectiveness in reaching other people than you do sending a stranger over there that doesn't look like them, that wasn't raised there, that doesn't talk like them, though they may get close. And this strategy of raising up leaders, but as you say, raising up disciple makers, man, is that not what we've always preached about, what we've always desired, what we've always hoped to hear about? And
Right.
exponential growth, true spiritual multiplication. So where's the very next place that you're going to be going to?
Well, we're doing a training. We were supposed to be in Cuba
Right.
this week, but so we had some hitches. So we're doing it by Zoom this week and again next week with our key leaders in Cuba. And then here in the next couple months, we'll be going to Colombia um, and Peru,
Wow.
and then hopefully back to Nicaragua after that.
Wow.
And then our Central South America ambassador, she's going to be in Brazil in a few weeks. And,
Wow.
our guys in South and Southeast Asia they're so excited. They're going to be in the Philippines, Indonesia, Cambodia. Like I said, Benny's in London, and then we'll be going
Wow.
to Egypt and then to Uganda and Ethiopia. It is amazing how literally what it feels like is we're on this incredible train. It is just flying, and it's like you better get on because the train is leaving the station.
You're on the gospel train, brother. Well, I've heard it said that never before in history have so many people been sent to America as missionaries.
Right.
I mean, just look at us. I love my country. I put my life on the line for my country. But I'm telling you, we're in trouble. More people are sending missionaries to us like never before. But boy, First Priority Global. And of course, First Priority in the States is incredible. Mark Roberts does an incredible job and all the teams and leaders there, which Benny Prophet started, but from being an all-star basketball player to being a coach that won thousands of young people to the Lord, Benny Prophet we're talking about here, to playing basketball perhaps with kids all over the country, from cities and metropolises to, to villages, feeding and instructing and raising up. And by now, so many children grew up to become leaders of other leaders through First Priority Global, a proven plan and proven results. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just go with what's working. And
well, as a matter of fact, something that you can pray about is, for example, Moldova wants Benny and I to come the end of this month, but everything is on hold. They're having a convention of a couple hundred churches coming together, but they put it on hold because they are fearful that Russia is going to invade Moldova.
Wow.
Have you heard of this?
I've heard whispers of it, but I've also heard whispers of Mr. Putin being less hostile to Christians than previously thought. I don't know, but perhaps those people on the ground give a more accurate answer. Unfortunately, we can't trust our media, folks. You can't. I'm in the media. I know. You can't trust this. You can't trust mainstream media. Not a word they say on any network, in my opinion. But you can, what we're doing here, you can news you can act on. You can on Christian networks. But it's very hard to know what to believe and who to believe. When I went to Paris on my way to Egypt, every type of race you can think of, but they ebbed and they flowed beautifully together. And people would come up to me, your media lies to you. Your media lies to you.
Yeah.
I found out pretty fast that they're right. Not everything's politicized and incentivized in other parts of the country as much. Don't get me wrong, America is still the best country in the world in many ways. But all that to say is I've heard whispers of that. But no one's going to know better than people who they're on the ground, including what I would call these kingdom operatives, first priority global. And so, but you're going to
Yeah, so we might be
places.
there at the end of the month, and we might not. We might have to postpone. Who knows?
Well,
So we'll just have to see.
Phil, I mean, you're going to places that, that there's that old saying where angels fear to tread. Um, you haven't feared to tread there. Benny hasn't feared to tread there. And even under threat of persecution, not only you and the team that goes over there, fearlessly going over there, but the leaders that have been raised up, they know how to avoid being detected as much, but they are bold and they operate.
Well, when we go places, we trust God's set it all up. He's
Right.
leading us all along the way. And the people that are our local contacts, they really take care of us. But when we leave and they begin to implement the strategy, that's when the rubber meets the road. That's when the enemy begins to try to interfere, and we can tell you so incredible stories of what God is doing in spite of the persecution in so many countries like Myanmar, Burma,
Right.
and all over Southeast Asia, India, man, incredible things happening in India. Our team there, they are just doing incredible things. That's the exciting part about this is that, we're just equipping the local people, the nationals, the people that live there, the churches, like, for example, and then they begin to implement, like in Egypt. I forgot, I'm not sure of the number, but it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of churches that are implementing this first priority strategy all over Egypt. And that's why they're coming together this week to celebrate. Yeah.
Oh, that's music to my ears, Phil, because I love those people. I love the Egyptians. We went to some of the darkest places, and but I fell in love with the people. Egyptians are not Arabs. People don't understand that. They look different. And hey, love Arabs too, but Egyptians are not Arabs. Make no mistake.
But they're not African either.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
even though they're from the African continent, they're even though they may not be Arabs, but they speak Arabic.
Oh yeah.
But you're right, it's different.
And of course, on a light note, Phil, oh my gosh, that Turkish coffee over there in Cairo, that'll that'll get you going, but it's exciting, folks. It's exciting. It's already been working. And this is a day and time, folks, where you really need to go where God's moving. Find out what God's doing and get involved with it. First priority and first priority global. And of course, today, with you and your team and Benny Prophet, first priority global. Go there, folks. Go there right now. Go there today, and pray for these men. It's happening. It's happening. If someone said, "Hey, is the Great Commission really happening?" Well, there's millions of ministries out there. I think it's safe to say, but I can say, yeah, I know for sure of one that is not just making an impact here and here, but everywhere. And that's first priority global. And that's with people who serve our King fearlessly without anxiety. It's not about religion. It's about relationship. And Phil, I admire you. When I first met you, we laughed a lot when we first met as well. And I felt at home with you brothers because you guys have the Lord all over you. I've done work in the inner cities and some of the people in the inner cities that I love and grew up around. You got God on you. You got God all over you. Well, you got God all over you, Phil.
Right.
And the Lord shines
So do you,
through
brother, man. That night you sat down at the piano at Benny's house and began to play, I just about melted into the floor as you worshiped on that piano, man. Woo!
Well, man, you know what? He who is forgiven much loves much. And, God gave a little grieving boy a supernatural with no lessons gift to play like a virtuoso for that level. I mean, I think Benny's wife is better than I am on the piano, but that's really what it is, man. That's really what it is. A grateful heart will save your life, folks. A grateful heart will transform your ministry. It'll transform, your finances. And I'm very grateful for First Priority Global. I want you to join in this. If you've seen it for the first time, all you have to do is just go to firstpriority.global. It'll blow your mind what they're doing. There's a lot of organizations out there, but I can vie for this one. I really can. And I'm
Hey,
excited.
Brant, that reminds me too, that if anybody wants to get on our prayer list where they will receive updates every month about what
Wow.
to pray for, you can do that at firstpriority.global. Yeah.
Awesome. So read about what's going on. Get on the prayer list. Give some finances to it. I'm going to as well. Get involved. Get involved. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. I do a lot of different TV shows, Phil. And in this world, no matter where you are, three kinds of people: people who watch things happen, people who make things happen, and people who say, "What just happened?" Well, be the.
Good. I like that.
It's true. Be the one who makes things happen.
Amen.
And Phil, you do that. The incredible team does that. And the people that have been reproduced, the leaders of leaders, the disciplers, they do that. And so, Jesus could come at any time. I know you've heard that, but I've never seen world events align so much as they have recently. Darkness doesn't hide anymore. Darkness fears no consequence. We used to be critical of the Germans. How could they let that happen? Well, what are you doing, folks? You're letting it happen too. 34 million evangelicals didn't even vote in the last election. So you know what? You got to do something. Don't just pray about it. Don't just pray for the Great Commission. Don't just pray for lost souls. Get behind those who are actually making it happen. And First Priority Global.
Yeah, and if you want to go with us sometime, we can do that as well.
You know what? I tell you what, brother, I got my passport and I'm missing Egypt, man.
Pick what part of the world you want to go and go with us next time.
You know what? I do. I've got family members too that are excited about those prospects as well. The youth is the future, and a lot of talk about youth. Well, they just need the right education.
If there's any pastors that are listening right now, one of the things that's happening as well is churches in America are getting connected to countries where we're implementing First Priority and being able to take teams and be involved, not only giving, praying, but going as well. So, if anybody listening, watching this right now wants to talk to their pastor about, hey, is there a particular country around the world that we could partner with? That is a great way to go too.
I love it. Pray, give, go.
Yeah.
Jesus, the disciples wanted to go and Jesus told them to stay until the Holy Spirit came in Jerusalem. Then he told them to go and they wanted to stay. Not all of them. And they went. Persecution helped make that happen. And where there is persecution, there is great revival. But you know what? I don't want to have to wait. And I haven't. And I know you haven't. I haven't waited until persecution's everywhere, but I haven't waited to serve. And you haven't. The team hasn't at First Priority Global. So pray, give, and go. And go to First Priority Global. Get behind a great work. There's that old saying, find out what God's doing and get behind it. Well, if you take the light and the truth and then the practical skills that First Priority Global goes above and beyond in showing, you're not just evangelizing, you're not just training, you're equipping, truly equipping. And you're doing it not under, one specific church. You're doing it under an organization, a parachurch organization. Pastors, you know what? You're not going to have to worry about, being unfaithful to your denomination when it's a parachurch organization, right, Phil? Promise Keepers, parachurch organization. Focus on the Family, parachurch organization, right? First Priority Global, parachurch organization.
But we're not unlike I say we are unlike any other parachurch organization ever, because literally what we are is a tool and resource for the church, because the whole first priority strategy is a church-based strategy. Now, our national office, we are, quote, parachurch, but the strategy is church-based. That's the reason why it's been so effective for so long.
It's a humanity-based organization too. I mean, there were people who were starving to death that because of you and Benny and the team, they didn't starve to death.
Yeah.
So,
well, as
folks,
a matter of fact, just one more example, Brant. We've got several churches, but one specific church in Atlanta that's been helping us with what's going on in Kenya. All right.
wow.
So May the 5th is dedication day for basically a community center building that this church has funded and has helped build right in the middle of one of the largest slums in the world.
Wow.
It's called Kibera, and it's right in the middle of Nairobi, Kenya.
Oh man.
And May 5th is the day they're planning and praying to have a big dedication day for this. It's a like I said, it's like a community center, but it's where you can take mission teams and stay there. It's amazing what they've been doing. In fact, just a quick summary: in Kibera, 2.4 million people living in 4 square miles of basically what you would think is just a garbage dump with a few little huts in it. Over the past, now get this, over the past 11 years, with a group that started off with about 16 youth pastors in churches around Kibera, focusing on this slum. All right, you ready for this? They have reached. Now, when they say reached, that means these young people have prayed to receive Christ. They've been through their 12-week discipleship program, and they're plugged into a local church. All right, you got that?
Right.
The last 11 years in one of the largest slums in the world, they have reached over 22,000 young people using the first priority strategy. Woo!
Wow.
Does that get you pumped?
Well, my man, another great update. And folks who are watching and those who are learning more about First Priority Global, folks, this is it. This is it. Again, I love a lot of my brothers and sisters, great ministries all over the world.
By the way, we've trained in 80 countries now.
Wow.
In the last 12 years.
I couldn't endorse another organization more, or encourage you folks to plant that 35 or 40 or $50 you're going to spend today on junk food. You can actually, or that $200 at Walmart, that you only planned on milk, but you saw some other things you needed. Well, I pray today that you see some other things needed. And
Amen.
that you give 100, 200, 1,000, whatever, tax deductible too, but you go to firstpriority.global, use their donate portal, read about it, see the team, pray for the team, sign up on the app for prayer requests, and get involved. You may work a lot of hours, and then you have your family time, and then you go to your fellowship, and that's awesome, wonderful. But in the midst of all that, you can also be boots on the ground with them, with your help, helping build the war chest to continue to take territory from darkness, because where there is light, darkness has no place. First Priority Global, another fantastic update. Agent Brown, incredible man. I think the world of, as well as the team. Tell the Dream Team hello. You'll be meeting more of the Dream Team folks as time goes on, and God bless you, my man.